Joining me now, Democratic Senator Gary Peters of Michigan. He is a former lieutenant commander in the U.S. Navy Reserve and now serves on the Senate Armed Services Committee. As you just heard, Senator, as you just heard Barbara say, Defense Secretary Esper says it's time now to move on, to focus on the mission. You've said, though, that you believe this undermines the commanders. What is your main concern?
Well, it does. The president's actions undermine the commanders. Good order and discipline is absolutely critical in the military, particularly with the Navy SEALs. You know, I'm ranking member of the subcommittee that actually oversees our special operations forces. These are incredible individuals, do incredible work. But it's incumbent that we follow rule of law and the military code of justice, and folks need to be held accountable if they are not within that code. And we need to have that standard, and that standard is important for the rest of the world to understand that the American military is the most professional force in the world because we uphold standards.
So then following up on that, what precedent do you think this sets? Because it sounds as if you're saying the standards are being thrown out the window.
Well, when you have the president engaged in this, there's a process that you go through. It's a military justice process. There are review boards. We're dealing right now, actually, in the SEAL community with a variety of issues that are a challenge to the culture. I can tell you in the conversations I've had with senior leaders at the U.S. Navy, it's something that has to be addressed. They are taking action. They're holding people accountable to standards that are not up to what you would expect of a U.S. Navy SEAL, and they need to be allowed to do that. And to have the president intervene for whatever political reason he thinks he needs to intervene really undermines what the Navy needs to do to maintain the professionalism that we are known for and is essential for our national security.
In terms of that professionalism, former Navy Secretary Richard Spencer, in his letter, wrote, quote, "I no longer share the same understanding with the commander-in-chief who appointed me in regards to the key principle of good order and discipline," and says he can't in good conscience obey an order that I believe violates the sacred oath I took. Is it right, if we're talking about standards, if we're talking about the way things are done, is it right for him to publicly rebuke his commander-in-chief?
Well, I don't know the circumstances. I think we need to know more exactly what happened. You know, you read that letter. We have something different from the Secretary of Defense. I think we need to have more facts as to what happened. This back and forth, I think, is confusing to everybody. But I think the fact remains to have the president engaged in a disciplinary action that goes through the military justice process is simply a bad precedent to set, and I think it damages the morale of the military as well.
The president, for his part, just a short time ago in the Oval Office this afternoon, weighed in. Here's some of what he had to say.
I think what I'm doing is sticking up for our armed forces, and there's never been a president that's going to stick up for them and has, like I have, including the fact that we spent $2.5 trillion on rebuilding our armed forces.
I know you've talked about the process that's in place, but is this in any way the president? Do you see this as the president sticking up for the armed forces?
Well, I don't see this. When you're dealing with the military justice system, you shouldn't intervene, which appears to be on a whim and perhaps motivated by something other than justice. I don't want to say what that may be because I don't know what that is. But we have a very comprehensive criminal justice system that holds people accountable when they are acting outside of the Uniform Court of Military Justice. And we need to stand for that. I mean, we've seen this president oftentimes believe that the rules don't apply to him and the laws don't apply to him. And apparently he thinks he can extend that to other individuals in the military. And I think that kind of breakdown of good order and discipline is not healthy for the military, and it doesn't do anything to maintain the incredible professionalism that we are known for around the world.